All right, everybody. We are back for round 2 of the Boyle CEDH event, the Platinum event in the TopDeck Championship Series, the biggest they make. And, of course, quite a bit of prizes on the line for these players. First place, 500 points, 2,000, of course, fall off from money and points from there. But a lot of money, points on the line for these players. A lot of the leaderboard has shown up here today, and it is sold entirely out. 222 players, biggest North American event for sure. Maybe even biggest event ever here today. And round number 2, we got quite a spicy pod at work here. Double tally.
This is a great pod. This is awesome.
Yeah, you
I've
like
never
this kind
witnessed
you're a
this
Tibet
before.
player. You love this stuff.
I love, yeah. Tibet, like control, keeping Rogsai in check.
To keep everybody's expectations in order, I did a little bit of research ahead of time on some Eminence events. Talion has been present as half of course, the pod. 2 out of 4 decks in a pod for Eminence events, exactly 16 times. The breakdown on that is Talion has won 6 of those, and it has resulted in a draw for 6 of those. So equally likely to win and draw. We may be in for a long one. However, the other 2 decks in the pod can pull some weight. We're looking at a TNK, another blue farm. Of course, you're going to see that in CEDH pods. It's a CEDH event, and it's a very popular deck. And also, Rog Silas Turbo Ad Nauseum, deck we've seen championed by Bryant Cook and his crowd of folks quite a bit on this series. It was actually even more present at the TopDeck Expo, I think, than here. A little bit less of a presence here today. We'll see if it can kind of break through the control beatdowns, if you will, of Double Talion.
Yeah. Ton of blue farm, ton of kin in here, but not in this pod. Just the minority of a single blue farm player here.
Yeah, I like seeing other decks. Also, as a stark contrast from our first round pod, where we saw 3 of the 4 decks are green, not a single green pip in this entire pod.
Who needs
Nobody brought green cards. So, speaking a lot maybe to a completely different approach, completely different way of playing Magic, but still, I would expect a lot of the similar cards to be the same. I don't know if we can cut down to the match, but the players are shuffling up. We can go ahead and get a look at the seat order very quickly. You have Jeffrey Weatherly there in first seat. I believe that is going to be Talion. Followed by Eric DeVito playing some Rog Silas in second seat. Pretty high positioning for Rogsai. I think that's going to be something players are going to pay attention to. And then in third, of course, that may use Tim Nakrum. Third is going to be the second Talion player, followed by Timna Krom. Max Viperman there in third seat, someone that apparently only plays dual color decks, I'm told. Maybe part of a bit.
Likes Rakdos, likes Talion. Yeah, co-host of the Colors Are a Crutch podcast. I listen to it. I learn a lot from them. So yeah, it's cool to see them in this feature match here.
So talk to me a little bit then. You listen to this podcast. Do you believe Colors Are a Crutch?
Well, I would never not register a blue deck if it was me. So I'm not playing Rakdos. That ain't my style.
Not a good start. That sounds like there's a specific color that you're attached to.
I like playing, at least 3 colors typically.
Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like a crutch to me, Kyle.
It is. Okay. You don't need it allegedly.
I enjoy my crutches personally. I like playing the broken cards. Give me all the crutches.
Yeah. I like playing easy decks.
I'm not here to prove anything except,
you don't get 6 points for working real hard for a win. You just get 5. It doesn't matter. They don't care.
Whatever. It's a good bit nonetheless. A solid 2-color choice here in Talion. Both players playing the same version of Talion. Actually makes this a lot more clear. I appreciate that. Some nice, pretty art on that card. They talk.
It's a small group.
The Talion community is a really tight-knit space. They have a lot of time to socialize, while they're drawing their pod for the 6th time or whatever.
They get together like, do you want to make this one a draw or not a draw?
Like, we can play this out.
Perhaps.
You want to look? Should I play this Mystic War or not? We already got 4 Rhystic studies and 9 Talions or whatever. Come on.
Do we really need it? I might deck out here.
Look, I put a Jace Wilder Mysteries in my deck. I got an extra copy for decking out. I'm covered.
Yeah, and these Talion players, they're a very parasitic group. They like to try to steal others' win conditions. So they got Rogsai and Blue Farm to steal some stuff from.
Yeah, a lot of red decks to utilize some of those clones. Get a quick look at these decks. See what the clone density looks like. Specifically, of course, looking for The new Bony Snatcher. Sakashima the Imposter. Wow, yeah, there is Flesh Duplicate. Phantasmal Image, yeah. These Talion decks are maxed out on those clone effects. Sakashima the Imposter, huh? It's a card from your day.
I don't play it in Tivit, but I mean, you can have 2 Talions, right? It's like it's a pretty sweet card.
2 Talions got to be actually pretty powerful. I mean, if we're reaching for that Sakashima, por qué no los dos? What about Sakashima Mini Faces? Just play them all. Does that work? Does that even work?
I don't
Probably
know.
Works. I'm pretty sure it works. I think the second one just makes the legend rule not work at all, so like it's all fine. Then you can
that's right. Yeah.
Because all the Krarks, I don't know, the Krark drama is long behind us. That deck not really seen anymore, but used to be. Back in my day, people made a bunch of Krarks, and nobody knew what happened anymore. Somebody's just sitting there flipping coins furiously, and that was the state of CDH for a period of time.
Yeah. If you're playing Krark Sakashima in this tournament, you're not getting on camera. Sorry.
Remember when they
built you're winning a lot?
I love Krark Sakashima. What gives?
I can't deal with someone just flipping coins for 30 minutes. I sat through that once. I sat through that in a tournament, not knowing how the deck operates, and I was like, "What is happening? Is this normal? Does this guy always do this like every round?"
No, nothing about what is happening here is normal in any universe.
There's a guy in my pod whose kid was asking him for like lunch money as he was flipping coins. Like, Dad, can we have some money for food? It's like, no, not now, honey. I'm busy. It was the weirdest game I had ever played. So yeah, thankfully we have none of that here.
Yeah, sweet, awesome design, incredible work, Watson. We need more of that. Give me another Krark. The Krark with thumbs or whatever. Krark's brother.
Yeah.
We just need all the flipping. Make it mono red, just full chaos. Anyway, Rock Sako is still on a mulligan, going second. In a spot where I think you have a little bit more pressure to try to find the grindy engines that are present in Rogsai. A lot of people think that Rogsai only presents as like a super quick, you're a turbo ad nauseum deck and you don't have any card advantage in the command zone. You can't keep up. That is strictly true. You do a lot of cheating on mana with Rog, which allows you to keep up with these bigger decks that just have 7 cards in hand all the time, but can't really deploy them as quickly. And a little bit of pressure maybe to reach for your Mystic Remoras, your Ristic Studies, and your tutors to find them in order to set up, or just have a quick kill. And that puts a lot more pressure on the opening hand than you would even normally have, given the pod composition. But in second seat, you're well positioned for that. Italians, of course, looking for interaction, I have to imagine.
Yeah, and Blue Farm gets to kind of decide a little differently how they're going to keep, knowing there's 2 Italians to keep this Rogsai in second seat in check.
It's funny, I kind of feel like normally with Tim Necron, when you look at the pod, you can start to like gauge your mulligan about how you want the game to play out. But here, I kind of wonder if you basically just can keep any functional hand. Like if you can go for a quick win, you maybe can set up a spot where you're going after the Rog player where the game's going to close, like the door's going to close on the game for them very quickly. They're incentivized to go for something quickly, and you can maybe just follow that up. Or if you get a grindy hand, like that's just fine. I mean, we're in a pod full of Italians. That's going to have play to it too. A lot of the hand compositions I imagine Blue Farm can present in 4 seed that's like good enough are going to be in range to keep. Maybe a little bit more incentivizing some interaction, but I mean, you're already there anyway, given how blue this pod is as well.
Yeah, Eric DeVito on Rogsai keeping, it looks like 6 cards.
6 cards looks like it as well. Gemstone Caverns pitching that Beseech, the Mirror, the start for the Talion in 3rd seat. Of course, Talion in 1st seat does not have access to that play, going first. Yeah. And we are off to the races, for whatever that means in a pod with 2 Talions.
Yeah.
Race to draw cards, I guess. Deck yourself race. Mana Confluence, Chrome Mox, very fancy foil deck maybe we have here.
Yeah.
Mind Break Trap under the Chrome Mox.
MBT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one feels like it's pretty good in this pod.
Yeah, with Rogsai, like, yeah.
Tapping Mana Confluence, Dark Ritual, okay. Rotro Raggy.
Right. Going for the commander.
A little bit of mana, nothing to see here. Now exposed to Mind Break Trap is this Talion, Kindly Lord, coming into play on turn 1. Dark Ritual doing its best Jeweled Lotus impression. Looks like, I can't read that die. Can we get one of the big die on there? We have big die, I thought, somewhere. Maybe we don't. Either way, it looks like it's 2.
Is it 2? Yeah. I usually put 2.
You put 2? 2 is what I've seen. I actually have seen a Shani somebody that I have a lot of reps with, being that we were playing with Power together and all that. He's a big Talion fan. He's put it on 1 quite a bit as well, and it was also pretty impressive on 1. If you make a second one, I imagine like having 1 on 2 and 1 is actually a meaningful difference. As here is Mox Diamond very quickly, following a mana confluence. No Rog put in play yet. Not sure if you can derive anything from that, as Gamble is on the stack. Maybe no Fierce? Playing around Mindbreak Trap? Not
MBT,
really.
yeah, out of Talion in third.
Haven't triggered the Talion yet. None of these cost 2. Or have 2 power and toughness.
And the good Rog side players, they'll mull aggressively. So the six cards, maybe they're just kind of keeping a hand where they're chilling, where they're not trying to go too fast. Maybe it'll be interesting to see what this gamble yields.
Yeah, I don't hate a Mystic Aurora here. It depends obviously entirely on what the rest of the hand is, but like I would keep just what I've seen so far with the ability to grab Mystic Aurora on any kind of mulligan. The question is, can we do better given that we have more cards to work with? And like I said, still no Rog deployed yet, but I mean, Mystic Aurora looks a lot better when you are a Rog side deck. You have access to your commander spells right away, and you even have some additional other. And that is Mystic Aurora at the bin!
Okay, that's Entomb.
Oh no,
that's gotta be an Entomb.
Didn't even play Rog.
Oh man,
no, a disaster for Eric DeVito.
You live by the Rog, you die by the Rog. I do not have the stomach for this deck. These are the plays you have to make. You were demonic consultationing and just like, I hope this works. Like, let's rely on the law of large numbers here. Like, it'll work enough times, but yeah, I don't know. I can't stomach that.
A heuristic for me when I'm preparing for tournaments is, can I stomach the losses? In the way in which this deck loses, does it tilt me hard? I mean, it's a real thing. It's a real factor. If this, like whatever, playing Dredge, I just can't do it. It's like, I just don't do anything for 6 turns. I'm out of the game. It feels horrible. And that's just part of what you sign up for when you play Dredge. This is the same thing where it's like, I mean, you were in a lot of games and, he's not out of the game entirely, but it does not look good from where we're at. As I believe we're looking at a Soul Ring in play off of Underground Sea. No further play. Can't play Talion yet. No Ristic Study has to be something I think the table's excited about.
An interesting, there's like Talion, it is kind of, to your point, it's kind of like a 50-50 split. And this, there's been a gamble and a Soul Ring played so far. So the Talion tally is not favoring the 2 so far. But, that could kind of balance itself out in a couple turns. Yeah.
A lot of magic. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but no, first seat, you get to kind of capitalize on that first development turn. You get a lot of drains.
Oh, maybe not. Swords to Plowshares on the Talion.
3-1 drop, and
I love this. Just completely delete player 1's entire first turn, 3 cards worth of value, and now, ironically, player 1 and 2 kind of in the same position. A mana confluence, a Mox, and that's it.
Slow and steady wins the race in the Talion pod as it's playing out so far.
Yeah, if you're Max, you have to be stoked. We passed. Okay, we did remember to play Rog now. Rog passed. Not a lot from DeVito. Opposition Agent on end step. A great development piece here for Max. And with Max's Talion costing normal 4, has mana this turn plus mana up. I mean, I really like Max's spot with this development so far.
Yep. Yeah, just patiently in the third seat. Just not going super fast. Has some good stacks pieces setting up. Putting the screws to Rog side because that's tough. Sometimes you got to go through it. It doesn't. It might not get better.
75% to keep the fish. Yeah, you're in an okay spot. Although I don't even know how much fish would have been triggered. Maybe like
I know that's the tough part.
Yeah, and this Talion's going to be on 2 as well, grabbing a land that casts Talion from Misty Rainforest. And it is just going to be basic island. Fair enough. Good mana for the 2-color deck. Maybe colors are indeed a crutch, as it looks like Ancient Tomb, maybe. for Blue Farm. Blue Farm kind of behind on mana. Not by that much. Ancient Tomb does help that a little bit, especially if there's a rock, and there is a good rock. It's Soul Ring. Still no Talion
Blue Farm's deck looks sweet. I'm digging what Blue Farm's playing right now.
Oh, you just love the old
school, school Soul Ring, like Blackboard Duels.
Normally, I'm the oldest person in the
Vengeance, you're just the Plowshares. I love to play the old cards in CDH. It's one of my draws to it.
Ancient Tomb, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That is a newer Ancient Tomb. It is
I agree.
off-brand for the
We
rest of
agree.
it. That should be Tempest.
Magistrate added to the board, actually extremely impactful, makes that Source of Plowshares from turn 1 look even better. Able to take one of the talents off the board and keep it off the board. Talion gonna draw a card for both Talisman and Draneth Magistrate, however, so Max getting further and further ahead.
Yeah, both Talions on 2 this game. It's
catching up now. The 1 still would have looked better for the math so far. Draneth draws on 1 or 2. It's like a basic added to the mix. Basic swamp, maybe snow-covered swamp, and no
Snowy
play.
Swamp.
Card quickly drawn by Eric. Does not look excited about his prospects in this game. Can't blame him. Can't blame him.
Yeah, it's what you sign up for. The wins are blazing. The losses, oh man.
Yeah, Ancient Tomb does help the mana situation a little bit. Very good mana for the 3-color Rogside deck. 2 life paid here, 2 mana available. It's Bergie, God of Storytelling. Normally you see this played on the Harnfell Horn of Bounty side, able to kind of use tutors to leverage tutors plus wheels plus quick mana that Rog enables to kind of use it as a combo piece. Bergie, maybe, I don't know, looking to block, looking to help the mana. Just get something going? Not clear. Talion attacking Rog. Opposition agent attacking the other Talion player. Jeffrey Weatherly, now below 40 for the first time this game. And yeah, we got to move this active player. Last pod, great at keeping it up.
Yeah.
A little bit of extra tediousness, but
be
really good for communication. Is Shieldred the Apocalypse added? Whoa. Card I haven't seen that much in CEDH. There's a little bit of buzz around, but I think Bowmasters has stolen the thunder as far as that one goes. Gonna look to actually start to close this game pretty quickly if wheels start getting involved, and that is something the Rogside deck is known for.
Yeah, Talion can put the screws to your life total as a way to instigate some action from other players, so that is a theme that we'll probably be seeing in this game, and that will maybe help out Blue Farm just in seat 4 if it pushes too hard again, backing Rogside into the corner.
Very, very true. Hallowed Fountain's nice new old border one. Has the original art.
Love
keeping
it.
Up some good themes. Yeah, good stuff. And here is the One Ring.
Okay.
Well, Shieldred looks even better against the One Ring.
Straight out of Modern interaction right here. Shieldred versus One Ring. This is...
Hello, what format is this? I mean, yeah, the One Ring would have looked great prior to the Shieldred coming down. The Shieldred does a lot to mitigate that card, as Stacko already on the lowest life total of the pod.
Yeah, two Adnaz players here, just kind of deciding who do we want to go after. The One Ring a little threatening.
Something I talk a little bit about in the few times I have got in front of a mic for a podcast is Grafdigger's Cage. Sure, let's stick it up even more. Is getting yourself a teammate when you're playing a pod against a deck that can win quickly. So against like this Rogside deck, the 2 Talion players, when you sit down, you're like, well, we're looking to do the same thing. We can maybe navigate this game to where one of us is the winner. Make this a 2-player game instead of a 4-player game. Is that something you've seen in action? I mean, that's something that seems to be playing out a little bit here. First Talion player stopped a little bit, and then, other Talion players kind of helping out the other Talion player to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, Max is just so far ahead. I don't I think he's probably trying to score some political points here and there, but he's looking like the threat, which is hard to do as Talion in this kind of pod.
It takes time, and time they have had.
Yeah, just an excellent start, doing exactly what they want to be doing here.
Yeah, able to get Talion developed, a lot of other disruptive creature pieces, Grafdigger's Cage, and that's part of what makes this Grafdigger's Cage look okay here from Jeffrey Weatherly is, you're playing the stacks piece when you're behind, which isn't a great spot to be, but this game's not going anywhere quickly. Even if the Talion player is really far ahead, it's only in cards, which you can keep up with. Other players, less so. As here is some big attacks, all at...
The Italians they're turning on each other here.
Yeah, there went all your political capital as far as teammates go. Here you go. Here's 7 to the dome. Yeah, and maybe this is recognizing, hey, you're the only player in the game I'm even worried about right now. Let's start turning the corner and get this game over with, because it can get grindy. That's an arcane segment.
It may benefit Max further down the line to just keep Talion in the game with the Grafdigger's cage, because he might be like, I can like ping you here and there, but like I kind of want this cage. This cage is working for me too to
that's
beat
playing
the
on my
other
team.
two players.
Exactly. And
So it's like, don't worry, I need you until I don't, like, because like this cage might keep him a bit around for a bit longer.
Doesn't feel good. Thinking on instep here. Of course, this One Ring has not yet been activated. We'll see if that does happen. Now, protection doesn't stop you from losing life, which is kind of counterintuitive. Going to still take the damage, or rather the loss of life, off of drawing, even though it does still have protection from everything at this moment. And now, back at the lowest life total is Joseph Stacco. Card coming. Any removal spells? Certainly looking for one. Already used Swords to Plowshares on Italian. Yet another problematic 4-mana permanent. Does not appear to have it. Upkeep gonna take another point. Life total dwindling quickly for Stacco. Gonna need to really start to get stuff started here. 2 more damage from the draw step.
Yeah, I don't think Stacco will be able to fight through all of the different things locking the breach out. So I think they're probably just laser focused on trying to finagle some kind of win here, and likely involving Thassa's Oracle at this point.
Look over Stacco's deck list. Has access to a Fire Covenant. Not great when your life total is low. Also has a Cyclonic Rift. No Deluge. Also no Dam.
Yeah, this is a good Deluge game for sure. Fire Covenant a little bit more targeted. Just life total always under duress with Blue Farm.
Gonna be worse. Tymna added to the mix triggers Talion. The life totals are just dwindling so quick if you're Stacco.
Yeah. Everything that is happening is just playing right into that Talion.
Here is Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. That's not as good as Shieldred when you have your One Ring, because you don't gain the life or whatever to offset, but is good against the Talion, and maybe you can start to build up. And I mean, 5 is a big number, but if something like a wheel does come down, maybe there's a chance. I mean, before you just die to it, as life totals, like I said, dwindling very quickly. A wheel may threaten to kill this this Blue Farm deck very quickly here.
Yep, Blue Farm's just backed into a corner here. Their hand is just not playing well to what's going on with what Max is presenting here.
Which is wild, because these cards are not bad. One Ring, Dread Magistrate, Tymna, Orcish Bowmasters. These cards are good. And yet, still, every time we add something to the board, it's like, well, it doesn't really solve the problem at hand.
In the Swords to Plowshares, there's only like 2 or 3 actual removal spells, and it was used well on the first Talion. That one would have also presented quite an issue. So it wasn't for naught. But
I mean, I think really, if you're Joseph Stacco, you need a little bit of help from Rogsai. Find some removal spells. Start to answer these problems.
Yeah, you can't do it on your own, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I need a teammate. These Talion players are kind of teamed up just by virtue of their deck's functionality. I need some help. We need to have like a conversation about what's going to happen here, because paying a life off Tymna doesn't feel good. 2 more damage from Shieldred, and back over to another Talion player. Picked up a copy Artifact as the draw. Got a good look at that one. Looks like maybe Rapid Hybridization and Swansong the other materials here.
It's interesting. There's so many different stacks pieces, and you got to watch. This is where like stacks can get really complicated, like when you're trying to unwind players, because this game's going to go on for a while, and people may get eliminated one by one here, and that may prove that's like how Rogsai gets back into this game. Yeah, I got nothing. I'm locked out.
You killed that player because I've been dead for 8
there
turns.
silently.
Right, yeah. Well, I can beat what's left.
Yep. Kill Grafdigger's cage, then maybe you can get back in.
What is happening here? We're killing. I don't actually know what that card is, but it appears to be a removal spell for Orcish Bowmasters. Either removal spell, bounce spell, something that interacts with Orcish Bowmasters. That one's getting moved around a little bit. Response 2-copy Artifact. And Swansong is going to take care of whatever that removal spell is.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one either, that new art. It looks kind of familiar, though. I swear I've seen it before.
I trust you. Let's see if I can. Maybe they'll fill us in.
Yeah. some
Is
kind
it
of
Chain to Vapor? That is a good question. Let's see. A lot of players put the arts of the cards they're using on their deck list. Gonna check that real quick. That looks like a rapid hybridization to
yeah.
me from a
I'm seeing
secret
that
layer.
art. Yeah,
Never seen this secret layer. Well, there's a little feature on the
fighting over
box.
the rapid hybridization, Flusterstorm
Yeah,
on the Swan Song.
a lot. I mean,
Right.
that's a lot of commitment from Max. Very interested in getting that Bowmasters hybridized, and I think for good reason. You want to keep your draw going unimpeded, and you have the best creature board state as opposition agent now taken care of. And we got to fluster the copy artifact too? No, we can't. That's an
Can't
enchantment.
do that. Hmm.
So why would that get countered? I guess it's not. Okay. Now I have to imagine that makes a Wish Claw Talisman. It's the best artifact in play. Could be an LED if you just want mana, but I don't think that's right. It could be a One Ring. A little bit bad against Shieldred, but have more life total to work with than Stacko does. No counters on the copy artifact would lead me to believe not a Wish Claw. Maybe we can get confirmation from the back table
Yeah,
as we
we'll
go
see.
over to Max, who is ahead on all fronts. Life, creatures, board state, mana, you name it. He's got it. This is becoming an Archenemy game very quickly.
It is, and as Talion, you have to Max. I know has played Talion in the past and brewed Talion, so they can't be too unfamiliar with this arch enemy role, because when you're winning with Talion, you are winning for a really long time, and it's obvious when you are taking over the game. It's these stacks pieces. So he's
Yeah, it is,
got to be
especially
comfortable in the
expensive.
pocket here.
I mean, a lot of resources to work with. A tutor dialed up. Previously was a little bit more comfortable because that Wishclaw Talisman was shut off by the opposition agent that was in play when he played it. Wisely did not use it because that opposition agent was unlocked very quickly thanks to Orcish Bowmasters. I don't think you can make very many moves here. Stacko is under a lot of pressure to do something about everything because otherwise they are just going to die. The combination of One Ring and their draw step hurting them, Ancient Tomb being where their mana comes from, that's also more damage. Like all of this damage that Stacko has kind of accumulated. Normally, obviously, whatever, only life point that matters is the last one. Life total is dwindling quickly. And that puts a lot of pressure on Stacko to actually do something about it before he just dies and doesn't have enough life total to work with before, any move kills you.
Yeah, I expect
17
Max
Stacko.
to be playing this very conservatively for exactly that reason. He's got to be familiar with also that paradigm. That's got to happen very often in Talion games.
I imagine so as well. Life total 1 point lost from One Ring. Notably, didn't activate it.
Yep.
Wisely, I'd argue. That's
Blue
5
Farm's got
damage.
like probably 2 more turn cycles before they're just bled out.
Yeah, even not activating One Ring, we're already down to 14. Under
Yeah.
pressure, still on board, thanks to Talion having flying. A lot of words on that card. A lot of cards
I
to
play
work with.
Talion in every CDH deck that I build. I love that card.
Really? I was going to ask that. You play Tivit a lot. Do you have a
I
Talion in
love
your
it
deck?
in Tivit. Yeah. I loved it in Blue Farm too. It just does everything. It's very, very innocuous threat. It doesn't make you just the enemy with just Talion, but it just accrues so much card advantage, pressures these ad nauseum decks. So it's a very good pod to be Talion and have it in play, have it
Every
be able to
pod that I
stick in
play with you,
play.
I'm just gonna keep Red Blast and Red Blast
Red
accessories. You
Blast
just can't
very
go Red
good
Blast.
against me. Always very good against me.
Kyle Mogamies, have your Red Blast dialed up because boy howdy, is he gonna run every piece of mana he has into him. Oh. Very deliberate as Stacko, and I would expect him to be. Like I said,
Yeah,
I expect
this is a
action
turn to make something
probably this
happen.
turn.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know if you're getting a next turn.
Gamble.
Here is Gamble. That one unlocked thanks to opposition agent off the board. Again, a lot of problems in play still, though. Grafdigger's Cage, Talion among the mix. Don't shut off by your own Drana, thanks to asymmetrical nature of that card, but still a lot of problems for normal win conditions for this deck. You have either Thassa's Oracle or one of the Consult pieces. Consult or Tainted Pact. That's probably one of the more appealing ways to go about this. Still does draw a lot of cards for Max, though, and not that much interaction used. Rapid Hybridization, Flusterstorm. gone. Swan Song, gone. That's not that much.
Yeah, not a lot of mana for like a meme bet. I don't think we have anything appealing there. I mean, you got to be going for like, it's got to be a Thoracle or something. You got that Grafdigger's Cage. There's not a lot of ways to remove that out of Blue Farm.
If we
I
see a
kind of like a
Thoracle, we
Braid as the
probably need to
flex slot
draw
for this,
a
but
land too, because we only have our lands left are Hallowed Fountain, Scrub lands, and then we have Soul Ring, Ancient Tomb. So we need to find some blue source. Plenty that we play, but that is just another piece of the puzzle. In addition to whatever tutoring might need to happen. So we might be a little constrained on mana as a result if we have to do a little bit more digging. But I mean, you got to go for something. This is something that I can't stress. I mean, you can't just pass and hope things get better. There's not been a single turn cycle where things have gotten better.
It's interesting that the One Ring was not activated ahead of this gamble to kind of increase your odds. You know, you're not drawing quite as many cards, so that's kind of
Stacko took it
indicative
all.
of maybe they're not going for it.
Nah, Stacko took it all. You're not going to brick. Grand Abolisher hits the bin. Can't. I mean, that was hard to cast. I doubt that's what we tutored for. It's a strong
that like
card.
blows the whole turn.
Yeah, there goes all your colored
just casting it. Yeah.
Reaching for two.
That can sometimes happen with Blue Farm, just like running out of color, the right colored sources.
Being 4-color definitely does that. Imposter Mech, we have a colorless floating. That triggers Talion.
Okay. Maybe that's what was gambled for. You can make a Shieldred, and then your One Ring is at least
and your One Ring
neutralized.
Works? Yeah, that's something. And it's like pretty hard to interact with.
That's a reason for not activating One Ring ahead of time too. If you're, because
all right, this
kind of
might look pretty good here. Little ambush 4/5 death touch blocker.
That's a heads up gamble if that's what they found, and it does seem likely.
You and I were kind of pigeonholed into Thoracle as our look. I do like Imposter Mech, just being able to use your One Ring, although your life total is still just low. I think this attack for Tymna definitely shows. Only attacking with Tymna, you do get to draw a card and offset the life total there. So only 1 point loss for the actual Tymna. The Shieldreds offset each other. You do need to consider some active, non-active stuff that can come up sometimes as far as which resolves first, but you have to be a little bit lower for that to be a real major consideration. Is One Ring now being tapped?
Next turn, One Ring that might be relevant. You lose like 6 up front after you lose 2 on your upkeep.
Yeah, you have to be careful when
Talion.
you activate it. Yeah, exactly.
This could come up like really soon. You don't see it a lot in CDH.
True as well. We see active, non-active sometimes for like the Rystix Mystics stuff, but for the Shieldred One Ring stuff that you see all the time in Central performance, this is maybe unexplored territory for Stacko.
And Imposter Mech, just an interesting choice for Blue Farm. You don't see it often because it only copies opposing creatures, so you can't copy your own dockside. You need to rely on opposing docksides to be in play.
That's an interesting part of CDH that I've kind of seen is we end up in these spots a lot of times where they keep printing 2-mana clones. These flash duplicates, these Imposter Mechs. Like Phantasma was kind of the first. And I think as a result, that one's a little overrepresented because it's been around the longest. People know how that card works. But actually, generally, Phantasma is the worst of the bunch. And people should kind of be reaching for Imposter Mechs and flash duplicates and all that way more often than they do. But it doesn't really come up that much. But here, I mean, Imposter Mech was just tutored for, came up huge, looks great, and survives any wraths that could potentially come down. You get to keep your Shieldred. Max would not.
And it's not a 4/5 either. Could be relevant. It's just an artifact with Shieldred's ability at this time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Could be positive. Could be negative as well. I believe that's crew 3.
Make it a 4/5, right? That works. There you go.
Yeah, it's appealing to have the 4/5 at certain times. So that'll be interesting. See if they're able to.
Ooh, no
play
play.
And they have to block.
Weatherly don't like that position. Not a lot to work with. Drana shutting out any Talion considerations, and with a handful of interaction, you rely so much on having your Talion out in order to have this interaction be meaningful, to actually start getting ahead. Jeffrey Weatherly, every turn cycle falling further and further behind, and I at this point I think Max loves to see it. Winning the game of Archenemy, this Imposter Mech, problematic, but not
47 minutes left in the clock too. This is going to be. I think this is a game that will actually end. This is one of those.
This
games.
is one we're gonna get one in the tick for the finished games column for the double Talion. We'll see. Don't catch your chickens before they hatch, Kyle.
I think it's gonna be. There's gonna be like a lot of fireworks very soon, though, so that can definitely shake things up.
Well, I think that
Mac's gonna have to balance that. It's just make sure that they're able to retain that advantage once a lot of bombs go off.
I mean, imagine if you sign up to play Talion at an event, you're used to playing very long games. Max has to be pretty thrilled to be this far ahead this quickly. Not in any rush to get the game over with, and we've seen that certainly with how deliberately we're deploying permanence. This Wish Claw still has just stayed in play, hanging out.
Yes, that is Italian truism of just like I can go tutor for the game or tutor for a game-winning card, but every second the game goes on, like I am more and more favored to win this game. So I'm like hurting my chances if I go for something.
Yeah, it's almost great that you're allowed to just have it face up because you're like, all right, go for something. If you fail, I have a tutor in play. And so that just incentivizes everyone to slow down, which is what you wanted to happen anyway, almost no matter what the composition of your hand is. So it's just like, it's sitting there saying, hey, if you don't slow down, I have a tutor to maybe roll the game up. If you do slow down, you're dying to what I have in play. And that is the pincher lock here that the entire table, the rest of the table is in. Is this Wishclaw Talisman just representing a win? And then these strong permanents, Talion, Shieldred, representing closing the game. I mean, not just attacking, but the damage from their triggers, a lot of damage coming across every single turn. These players dying very quickly. Active player goes to Max. Not very much impactful happening from Eric DeVito either. Players just in a standstill. Stacko really the only one under pressure to make things happen. I think Max still recognizes that. Very quickly attacks Stacko with Talion. Go ahead and try to get him out of the game as soon as possible. No plays. Love it.
Yep. Just draw, go. Hit pressure somebody a little bit. Put the screws a little bit.
Upkeep. You have a 1-ring trigger. Down to 8. Single digits. And draw we go. It's funny. Normally you see these kinds of like life total dwindlings happen kind of with Mana Crypt where you're not really sure if it happens or not, what that mix is. 1-ring says, hey, you are going to die.
Yeah, there is guaranteed bleeding everywhere, all over the board. And
this is the last turn from what we see where we can tap the 1-ring on our main phase and not just die, right? Active, non-active.
Mm-hmm.
That's could be
gonna draw 3 cards. Gotta draw 3 cards. One of the times, like maybe I don't want to actually use. Can I just draw like 1 card? 2? Three's a lot. Three's a lot. You guys want to like let me not do that? It wouldn't be fair.
A lot of cards to work with already for Stacko. We'll see if he's going to make a move. Again, part of the problem is you need to have enough life total left to work with to not just die to Talion triggers. Every single win condition requires playing a 2 at some point. Yeah. Other than combat damage, which you are just miles from.
That's a great point. It's effectively killing off the opportunity for the 1-rings. Like, where do I go from here? I need like to draw Path to Exile, or I presume Path is a secondary removal spell here.
Covenant.
Not too many ways really to beat a Shieldred in this deck.
Yeah, I mean, your own has done a lot, and here is a big attack. Shieldred playing some defense for Max. Good defender. Blocks something with Shieldred. Not clear what. Looks like the tokens, the Orcish army and the 3/3 from Rapid Hybridization were attacking Max. The remaining scraps were attacking Jeffrey. And yeah, there we go. Took 3. Down to 43.
Still some good patience by Blue Farm, just staying like passing that last turn cycle. They recognized they had at least 1 turn and they were right.
Yeah, the Shieldred, I think definitely as soon as that's in, that resolves. You get 1 more turn for sure.
You get a little breathing room, not too much though. It's still a really perilous state.
Tim to draw, offsets there. You didn't see the life total changes. The 2 from lifelink and 2 cards drawn, those offset. Shieldred's, of course, offset once again. Not lethal yet. Badlands added to the mix. Notably a little constricted on blue. Does still have 2 sources. Thorkel on the menu right now.
When I play blue farm, I'm typically pretty happy with red black and blue white duels to combine with all 4 colors, because they lend themselves to these Thoracle demonic consultations lines, and if you get the wrong pair, you kind of like hang a plateau where it's like, what am I doing with plateau in my deck? Like, I need blue, black.
Get this out of here. Silence from Stacko. That I believe. I mean, we gotta expect this, right? Fireworks need to come from Stacko now, or you just die. That is where we're at. Here is Silence on the stack. People counting mana. Speaks to Flusterstorm potentially.
And Eric has a ton of cards in hand on Rogsai. Maybe it's, and Rogsai's like, I'm chilling. Like, you guys fight over it. I'm out of this game, whether they have free interaction or not.
I mean, Rocksai could have like a ritual Nauseum or whatever. We still have like a fine Nauseum from 24, right? We could have something.
Yeah, and they could. Yeah, if they have Born Upon a
22,
Wind.
whatever. I mean, you're lower, but an Incept Nauseum doesn't have to be good. The bar's on the ground. As here is Force of Will pitching Cyclonic Rift. For Max, definitely concerned about this Silence. Wants the draw engines working. Response, One Ring. Oh boy! Oh, if we have a removal spell for the Shieldred,
There's got to be another removal spell, because and
it's Odawara.
Yeah, because Max
no.
pitched Cyclonic Rift. It's not quite face up. Maybe it's the only blue card, but like, yeah,
and
that's the way you
Imposter
finish
Mac,
the
because that's your
bleed.
last 2 life points. You know,
Yeah.
your Imposter Mac goes to hand. You take 6 off the draw 3, and then you go to replay your Imposter Mac.
Yeah, what do? You have nothing going on. Yeah.
And that's going to be true for anything, right? You can't play your Thassa's Oracle. You can't play your Underworld Breach. You have nothing. You have to respond with the removal spell here. If you don't have it, I don't think Stacko has a way out unless there's a way to gain life.
Yeah, and Swords of Plowshares in the graveyard. I believe Stacko did have Angel's Grace.
No Angel's Grace for
no
Stacko.
Angel's Grace. Okay.
Red Blast You can't Red Blast the Dwara.
No, it's gotta be Talion. Yeah.
Okay, Red Blast Talion. That
gotta be
does
Talion.
At least cast
you gain 2 life. That's very valuable. Okay. Yeah.
Reading Odawara. I think we just did a check to make sure that ability is not blue. It is not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a heads up way to keep that interaction for the opposing Shieldred.
See a Time Twister in hand. I mean, if we can find a way for that opposing Shieldred, maybe Time Twister could do some stuff. But I think that has kind of slipped away a little bit with our colored sources dwindling, and
and the Ancient Tomb just not a card anymore. That's like a big hit to the mana.
Yeah, well, we'll see exactly what we can assemble. We have a lot of mana density left. I think there's a Morphic pool over there. It was the land for turn, if I understand correctly.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool looking Morphic pool.
Yeah. I thought we played Badlands. Maybe that was last turn. That was last turn we played Badlands. Or was it? Anyways. Got the 3 cards coming for 1 ring. Those hurt.
Rogsai's like, let me help you with that life total.
Wait, what did we Red Blast?
It's got to be the Force of. It looks like the Force of Will. The Silence is still on the stack.
Okay, cool. So it's not the Talion.
Not the Talion.
Well, then what do we do? I mean, Silence.
I don't know.
Then what?
I don't know about protecting that Silence there. I'm curious to see where this goes. I think you're right. I think it had to go for the Talion.
Uh-oh. I mean, maybe we still have other removal spells. But I mean, even Cyclonic Rift doesn't work, so it can't be a sweeper. Covenant?
Unless there's a next level play where you're like, I gotta stop this Silence to like stop Rogsai from like, I don't know. It doesn't do anything. I don't know. Yeah, Silence resolves. You're at 2. You got this Talion. How do you win? Maybe you got to draw like Path to Exile. Maybe they're all in on drawing Path off the 1 ring.
What do we have? I mean, you could have another blast. Oh, nope. We're only on Red Blast. No Pyroblast.
No, presumably no Deadly Relic. Oh, no Path. Is there another way? I don't think there's another way then. No. Okay, sorry. Odawara.
Yeah, Odawara, but then we're once again using.
That's probably the last one.
So much mana. Maybe it has to be Odawara. Okay.
I think it's the last card in the deck that actually like interacts with this Shieldred or this Talion.
Getting thin. To discard step we go. And Time Twister hits the bin, along with Dark Ritual.
Very cool looking deck. Got all the sweet cards there.
Got all the old
Beta Dark Ret.
Old borders. Yeah. I had Beta Dark Ret back in my day. Day. It's just that art is so good. Sandra just killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. So iconic. And to Jeffrey we go. Outside of the turn 1 Talion, when that got shut down, I mean, really, almost deleted entirely as a player at 12 life. Grafdigger's Cage not looking good, and not a lot to work with. I really don't know what this copy artifact is. No counters for Wish Claw. Hasn't been a One Ring that we've activated. No play from Jeffrey. Whatever it is, doesn't do anything here as we pass back.
This Grafdigger's Cage is the only thing that this Talion player is going for them. It's just kill me last. That's what I have. That's my political equity.
I mean, definitely not the threat.
Yeah.
Here's a Bergie bonk. Take that. Could have killed the blue farm player wisely, I think, choosing not to. Need as much help as you can get. I don't know that I'd attack here. I just want help from all these teammates. Oh, no, we are killing the blue farm player.
Okay.
Why?
I think they were probably going to die one way or the other, since usually like the One Ring or Born Upon a One is how you get out of this type of hairy situation with the lethal One Ring on the stack. But you cannot play it with the Talion.
Yeah.
So that was their remaining out.
You're dead 10 ways to Sunday. I don't know. I feel like we tapped the Bergie for no reason there, but whatever. He's dead. Here is a Springleaf Drum. Maybe we're trying to win this turn, and that's not for no reason. Is that Springleaf Drum functionally free thanks to the mana rebate from Bergie? We'll see if we can get something going. This is the first time we've really seen a lot of mana be tapped by Eric since the turn 1 gamble kind of fell apart. It's Jessica's Will. That was
trying to make something happen.
Okay. Converting Ancient Tomb mana into red mana, incrementally better. If we have a way to bounce Bergie, you actually can do tricks. Like Jessica's Will plus Bergie is often kind of cited as a combo because it makes so much red mana and gives you cards to work with. You can kind of like bounce your Bergie, then play Harnfell because you just have so much red mana, and then you're off to the races or whatever. We'll see if we have a bounce spell to make that play, or if we got something else in mind. Oh yeah, here we go. Shout out. Original print. Proxies. OP cubed. Look at all these big red mana. Nice and bold. Clear for us what's going on. 3 cards exiled. Wheel of Misfortune among them. Polluted Delta as well. That one's going to be played very quickly. And we want a mana. No other lands to work with for Eric, but he's got something cooking. Seems kind of confident.
Yeah. Eric's done a good job of just playing possum. Again, part of just the role of Rogside. Just play possum for like 20 minutes. Just don't talk to anybody. Don't do anything.
Dad, I discarded my Mystic Aurora. My deck does nothing else.
I killed Blue Farm. Don't kill me. I'm one of you guys. We're all friends here.
Yeah, we're all friends here, except the player I just killed. Yeah, I mean, certainly I think if you're going to kill the Blue Farm player, it has to speak to something like we're going for something meaningful here, and you just don't want something to randomly have interaction.
They're just silenced for this turn, basically. You silence them for one turn.
Maybe a stretch. Silence for the rest of the game.
They're silenced. They would have had one extra interaction on Max's next turn, then they're dead.
Yeah. Bergie doing its best Blightsteel Colossus impression for his influence goes.
Just one shot.
One shot, one kill. We have LED to work with. LED plus Wheel Misfortune's like something. That's like something. We're cooking. I don't know if we're cooking anything good. There's still a lot of cards in hand that you have to work through from Max Pfeifferman. And we know, if you're sitting here and you are Eric DeVito, you eliminated the Blue Farm player, but let's think about what Jeffrey Weatherly's done this game. Played Talion, drawn cards, passed, hasn't even played lands.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is in his hand? It's
not
land.
It's a tall order.
It's not permanents.
Those two Italian players, whether they're working with each other or not, it's hard to be in that seat where one of them is applying pressure, the other presumably has some interaction to fight through as well.
And that gets
it's kind of like they're doubly important.
All interaction? Use it? Do you use it? You're just giving the game, quote unquote, to Max. But if you don't cast
Max doesn't even need to cast another spell this game.
Yeah. Well, looks like not.
Max has everything they need at this point. So yeah, the counter spells are just reserved for Rogsai.
And looks like we may need them. Underground Sea tapped very quickly. Born upon it.
Yeah, looks like Born.
Born's
an interesting one in this spot.
Our turn.
They're gonna lose 4 to cast that.
Is there any tricks we can do with LED to like put stuff on the stack that's normally not okay, and then we get to crack LED? I mean, that's what I'm reaching for right away.
Yeah, maybe. I think Eric just needs another card.
Sure.
Like, just cycle that and lose 4 in the process.
That is the most painful Gitaxian probe I've ever seen.
Yeah.
4 damage. Could have cast the wheel early on. Now off the table. Here's Snap targeting Shieldred. That maybe puts it back on the table. As we get a red mana from Bergie. The pile of red mana from Bergie. Yeah. Something I'm very familiar with. I played Bergie in the command zone plenty.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen you play some Bergie.
It's a sweet one. Very powerful magic card. It kind of reminds me of Talion, but in the inverse way. They're kind of like, opposites. Yeah. Where one is good in the command zone, good in play for comboing. The other one's good in the command zone, good in play for stopping combo. As untapping 2 lands gets a little bit of mana positive outside of just Bergie. You get the Ancient Tomb untap as well. So actually a ritual plus removal spell there is Snap. Quite a CDH pedigree already. Yep. Last Chance. Is that card? That's looks to be a last chance.
Yeah.
Ow. Okay. I'm winning or I'm losing. Those are the 2 options.
Things are happening. Yeah, the Shieldred reset and
there will be no. Oh, look at that. Wiping the hands off. We're cooking. Cooking is Eric DeVito. Been playing Possum for a long time. The spell's been flying this turn. Still, nothing really meaningful. I mean, you've drawn Max a lot of cards and haven't actually played anything he needs to interact with yet. I mean,
yeah, it's been a gambit. And...
Oh boy, Wheel of Misfortune. Okay.
This is a tricky spot with Max.
He has 44 life. Like, you just paid 12? Oh, we have Mindbreak Trap. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Don't even want to figure it out. I don't want to figure out.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that card's hard to think about. Yeah, get out of there.
Wheels plus Bergie. I mean, a pedigree I know well. Tends to lead to wins one way or another.
It's an upside Italian here. Just don't think about the most complicated cards. I think something might go wrong. Just out. It's going to be a long tournament. Don't want to think about that.
You don't even want to think. Just get that out of my face.
Power.
And Force of Will pitching his own NBT. I think that's the last 2 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a fight. You get a red mana. Hopefully, didn't miss that.
You got to be so happy if you're Max here. Just both players, fairly low life total.
Yeah,
probably pondering, how do I interact with this? Let me count the ways.
Wondering what he's going to get for lunch once he's done beating up on whatever's going on here.
It's like, oh, I'm actually going to have 30 minutes before this round is done. This has never happened when I'm playing Talion.
Admire my foils,
and you get to, like, that's going to be huge if Max does walk away with this, because, like, Talion can really shine in the elimination rounds, and they're not too far off if they do win this one.
Priority regained for Eric. Crack LED now that we have our hand empty for triple blue. Okay. Wheel of Misfortune still on the stack.
Yeah, still on the stack.
I guess we're doing the life total thing. Why is the phone going? Okay, the phone's gone.
Are they using that for the... I don't know what they're using it for.
Reveal?
Maybe for, secret reveal.
Well, what I can tell you, one player's at 44, the other are at like a quarter of that.
Yeah, it's rough.
So you're really competing with one player to draw. Yeah, it looks like we got 10 and 12.
Yeah, you can politic. Yeah, Talion.
Yeah, there has to be
Wheel of Misfortune. Here. Yeah, it's just okay. We don't want Rogsai to have these cards.
And there's good politics points too. Like, I'm going to die to my last chance if my wheel's bad. Like, give me something, and you are dead. As it stands, with what you have, you are dead. So you need a wheel to even play the game. I might brick and just die from my last chance, deterministically, just dead. If I just don't find anything across this plus an extra draw step, don't snuff me here. You can. Like, we could pay 11. Obviously, if you're Max, I imagine you're going to pay, 11.
Yeah.
and maybe 12, whatever. And
Yeah,
whatever the
whatever.
maxes is
15,
just
it's
not a
easy.
relevant
Yeah,
amount.
whatever. Yeah.
You just need Jeffrey to not screw you over, and we'll see if that happens. This is actually an interesting spot. Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah, and Max maybe has something for it still, and just reading, I'm not sure if it resolved yet, but has the chance to politic and say, hey, Talion, like you do something. I have nothing, whether I have it or not. 'Cause you're probably like fairly sure they can interact with it in some way. I don't know what they have. They don't have creature removal. They don't have lands.
And this is the exact spot that you called out is favorable for Rogside. Being able to remove one of the players to remove a key stacked piece. I mean, that Drannith Magistrate being gone mattered here. We were able to cast the Wheel of Misfortune from exile thanks to the Jessica's Will. So as soon as that player's gone, is the House of Cards beginning to crumble? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, this is a high-risk spot, but you have to take those spots. And it opens avenues for the deck. When it looks like it's out of the game, you start to feel comfortable. We spoke multiple times. It looks like Max just got this one. And now that's less clear. It's a little more dubious because of exactly what you called out.
Yeah, and that cage does indicate that it's like, I'm going after Rogsai. I have to do it in that order. I have to kill the cage player last. Otherwise, yeah, the Rogsai still is they're rocking the boat. This is their chance.
And the other Talion player mostly dead in the head-to-head. I don't think you can afford to screw over.
Yeah, it's just a classic control it's a control mirror, like that is reminiscent of how 60 card plays out, and Max is just so far ahead on card advantage.
The player's still talking, or am I frozen? Clear to me. The players are very good at being perfectly still.
It could be
frozen,
actually.
Chat, help. We are frozen. Okay. Well, I don't know how long that's going to be the case for, but hopefully not very long. I can't imagine that action is happening quickly while this is happening. So if there's going to be a time for it to freeze, I think this is a good one. Because you're looking at basically what we'd be looking at anyway, with a little bit less hand moving.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see. Like, yeah, Max has so many options to just let the wheel resolve, play with the high life total, politic the counter over. Or just straight up counter it. They could be like, yeah, no, I guess I'm going to fire off counter. Not sure if it's worth firing off counter or not. It's really hard to decide how you want to. Because yeah, with Talion, we're back here.
We have jumped ahead.
Okay, there's a Ristic study.
Didn't change, but there's cards in hand and Ristic studies.
Wheel must have. Wheel resolved.
We have ad nauseum from 10.
Eric got the extra cards. Okay, that's interesting.
It looks like all players have cards. It looks like it looks like Jeffrey didn't wheel, but the life total didn't change.
That's interesting.
44 to 12 to 7. I don't know how that's possible. Ad nauseum hits Necropotence, Paradise Mantle, Imperial Seal, down to 6. Remember, 2 is mostly lethal because you can't cast Oracle or Breach, which are the primary win conditions of the Rock Silas deck. So functionally, we're at 4 here for the cases of winning the game.
Yeah.
If you want to use this Ancient Tomb, you're already mostly there.
Deadly Rollick, at least in out in this ad nauseum, still it's one of the few things that you can really hit to not only deal with the Talion and
remove the Talion,
land it too. But it's tough. Just the second case of the ad naus player, their life total is pressured. Talion closing in.
To the casting the ad nauseum speaks to maybe really expecting to have to use your last chance turn. Makes some sense. I think we're thinking about actually just using the last chance turn with this Imperial Seal, but I don't know if that works because we have to take a point from Mana Confluence, Imperial Seal. Then what? Do you Imperial Seal for like Mnemonic Betrayal? That doesn't take Talion damage. The Swords of Plowshares is gone, but there's a rapid hybridization.
Yeah, Mnemonic Betrayal could be an out.
I think that might be where we have to be, but I don't know if that's enough. I didn't see what was discarded.
Yeah, the man is going to be tough one way or the other. Just the life total just really taking away the
kind of a
real
combination,
mana
though.
resources.
Chrome Mox helps. Yeah, there we go. More Bergie mana coming.
Yeah, Bergie to help.
Necropotence under
Get that out of there.
There's Imperial Seal. Yeah, I guess
All right,
we're gonna use this last chance turn. Thinking is Max, although Max is not sitting like someone that has a lot. Did Roxai find an opening here?
If Roxai gets away with it, that's masterful. They just played the role so well. Then if they get this.
Well, I mean,
But there is the Grafdigger's Cage still, so it's just the Thor.
Well.
Yeah, so we have Thoracle for now.
True. Well, does Mimnatron get around Grafdigger's Cage? It does, right?
I think that one does.
Yeah.
They all get exiled. Yeah, so yeah, Meebet's still alive, but yeah, this
Meebet
breach
looks
is
good.
still.
I don't know what else works when you're at 4 under Italian, but we will see. Berkey, like I said, making a ton of mana here, looking incredible as a piece in play, kind of showing the versatility of that card. Both halves played a huge role in enabling this spot. Whether or not Eric gets there is going to remain to be seen, but to even have a spot here when it looked like everything went wrong, important to highlight for this deck's resiliency and kind of what can happen when players, you play possum enough, players stop focusing you. They stop attacking you. We focused on the blue farm player who was just kind of organically dying anyway and did. And now the Roxai has enough life total to work with. I mean, think about it. Literally one more attack and we're talking about dead to mana base next turn. Right? Mana Confluence don't work. Ancient Doom doesn't work. Your Talion a problem. Like, one more attack could have been the difference here, and just playing possum enough to save those few life points could come up huge, assuming Eric can find a way out.
And Bergie could have been Hornfell as well. That was a conscious decision turns ago. Kind of visualizing what do my games that I win actually look like, and now it's coming up big in this turn where it's like you got a lot going up against you. You do have the cage. You have fewer ways to actually win the game. But yeah, it was a good choice.
I'll say this. It will be incredible to me if Eric gets away with this. With as quiet as Jeffrey's been this game, there's still, I feel like there's a lot of removal or interaction of something in hand for Jeffrey. I don't know if he's going to use it, but I mean, if he does, you have to beat it from Eric's seat. And that seems like a tall ask to me.
Yeah, when Talion's looking back on this game, we're like, do they have it? Do they not have it? Like, they're like, yeah, I had it the whole time. Like, this isn't my first rodeo, and I know my spots. Like, this is what I sign up for.
Look, you're there, I'm here. Just let me cook.
Like, I know. Like, I got this. I don't know what I'm gonna do about the Talion mirror match that I have to fight next, but I at least am not yet worried about Roxai. This is not what's going to happen. But I'm going to, unfortunately you're like in the spot where you can kind of hand it to Talion. Obviously you take that to keep the game going, but the chips are against you if it is that mirror.
But I mean, wheeling away the shield is actually kind of big game for you. Like having that hit the bin, I think that matters. Like you are now suddenly in a little bit of a better position. Your Talion's unlocked. You don't have as much cards, but that's really the only metric you're that far behind on. Life total obviously matters, but Talions bump off each other, the attacks are going to kind of stop, and the game might grind to a halt. Maybe you can find a way to claw back in.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see if there is actually some parity gained if Eric is unable to close on this turn.
Yeah, that does all rely on Eric being unable to close this game. We'll see if that's going to even be the case. A lot of mana left to work with this turn.
Yeah.
Doesn't have access to the Imperial Seal card yet. If you're going to cast anything at all, you have to pay for Ristic or he gets the card right now. That really probably isn't good for you. 4 cards left for Eric. Like I said, I really feel like it's got to be meme beta. I don't know what else it could be. Not a lot else really works that well. Breach, not at all. Thoracle does work, but you can't be Tainted Pack as the backup. It has to be a console.
Chat also pointing out perhaps the Chain of Vapor as well. Could be also a reasonable
You'd have to have the payoff rolled up already.
Yeah.
Just possible.
Yeah, unclear what we're actually working with here. You could also start by chaining your Bergie to reset as a horn and then bounce Talion. Maybe that's got like 3
cards to work with.
If you're cooking, that's how you get it started. So I'm not a
cook.
Rogside player, so I'm sure there's like a ton of lines that I'm missing on all the different things you can do in the spot. Because it is a really hard deck to play, not only to mulligan with. And but yeah, that's something you can do. Again, showing the versatility of Bergie in this deck.
I think even for the Masters, it's not always obvious. I've seen
yeah.
many screenshots where it's like, okay, what do you get? What do you tutor for? And a lot of times the considerations for that is Chain of Vapor or like payoff of some kind, and if so, what kind? Because Chain of Vapor just does have so much versatility and Howl In and all that kind of stuff. But these are not like obvious heuristics. These are real questions that experienced Rogside players ask themselves and come up big. The margins on this are small. Italian player, they really only need to find maybe one, maybe two pieces of interaction, ton of mana to work with in order to kind of put the door on this game for the Rogside player. This is the last turn. We just got it. We literally are in our last turn. Last chance demands it. So
yeah, chain is probably the play. You get to like pop off with the artifacts, like the mana vault can like cast the Bergie again. Like you got a lot going on, really.
Here's a mana positive Paradise Mantle. Follow the Phyrexian Tower that was played for turn. Black mana reach for very quickly with Chrome Mox. And maybe Mana Vault. It is Mana Vault. Original Print Proxy Colorless coming through. Using two of those. This looks like a third mana. Maybe, I don't know if we want to sack any creatures yet. We do still have token. It is Mean Betrayal.
Right,
Demonic Betrayal. A lot of words in that card. Exile all cards from your opponent's graveyards. You can cast them this turn, and you may spend mana as though mana of any type. So Bergie mana works. At the beginning of next end step, those cards come back, and of course, Demonic Betrayal exiles itself. And here, is that a Tainted Pact?
Tainted Pact, yeah.
What does that do? We're at 4. 2 drops are still under pressure. Is the consideration don't Tainted Pact because then you're giving him a Tainted Pact? That doesn't seem like a strong argument to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're pump faking the Tainted Pact. If that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing, and that is what we're doing. Here's Rhystic Study. Gonna pay with the extra Soul Ring mana.
I do respect the heart of it, though. Just
any follow-up?
Okay, getting the argument in there.
Copy Artifact. Not good. Don't even know what that is. That's a Dress Down. I actually don't hate Dress Down that much, but works. If you Dress Down and it resolves. I don't know. Maybe it just gets bounced or whatever. And with Chain of Vapor, there's just so much that you have to work through. You just want to stop the Demonic Betrayal at the source. I see that. Subtlety, not good enough. A lot of cards moving through. Rhystic hits a lot of foils here. Jesus, very pretty.
Yeah, it's cool looking deck.
Stopping it, Drown in the lock. Chooses
passes
not,
on Drown.
Interesting. No thanks on Dispel. I mean, not really concerned about exiling any combo pieces, right? We're just like gonna beat down with what's in play.
You have what you need.
Delay card we're thinking about. Less mana intensive than Drown in the lock.
Pass on Drown. Maybe it's just a gambit for like Flusterstorm, and that may be maybe that's the consideration. Just something that like seals it up a little more.
I know Force is gone, right? Force is no longer there, and I think the Mindbreak Trap is also gone. So we're talking about like pacts if that's there. Fierce negation, Fierce Guardianship if that's present.
Flusterstorm's probably not even good. Yeah, Flusterstorm can't be good.
Yeah, Flusterstorm's always good against Bergie. And we keep going. Spell Snare does not work. Your own Demonic Betrayal does not do anything. Not an instant. A lot of looks. Pedal. Basic. Land. Imperial Seal. We're moving quick now. Posture. Oh, maybe like that one. Nope. Minamo. There's Force of Negation.
All right. This got to be it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're stopping on that one. Force of Negation. Pitching. Seagate Restoration. That triggers Rhystic Study. If we don't have any other interaction, I imagine we're going to pay. We are going to pay. Any follow-up? Come on, I mean, if you have it, you're slamming it. What are we thinking about here? If you have multiple, maybe there's a consideration. Come on, you don't have multiple.
And on the Drown and Delay, I guess also not only is Rhystic a consideration, you also have Days to contend with too.
Sure, Island in play. Days.
It's a good one to play around.
Very smart. Heads up, going for that Force Negation. Of course, your free interaction, less pressured if the last player in the game is just Italian player. So, and it works.
It works.
Demonic Betrayal down in exile. Any follow-ups? This is the last turn before Last Chance goes off, and that is a passing of the turn.
That's it. Okay. Italian mirror
yeah,
match. Now this is
it is
what
now. This is what you
I
wanted. You're
wanted
eating
to
this up.
come.
You're
Yeah,
eating it
this is
up.
what I want. Really impressive fight though by Eric. That did seem like probably one of the last windows that was actually available to really get
Creating
something
a window is
started.
already impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, that game
it
was
was.
very,
Yeah.
very tight lock, and Eric proved it wasn't as tight as people thought.
Mhm.
And over to
Yeah,
Max
you can
Miguel,
never
who
count it
maybe was
out.
a winner anyway,
Yeah,
but they didn't have
Rogsai
it.
can just keep it going.
Max also played very heads up. I like the call
Yep.
out. Playing around days, play around the stuff you can play around. Your deck quantity does not matter. Just play around days, be able to pay for Rystic so that there's no funny business there. Make it this Mnemonic is it. And it did a great job of that. And now Mana Crypt added to the board. Not really worried about that one with the opponent at 9. Talion, of course, dealing 3 points there. And now we'll see if Jeffrey can finally make some motion happen here in the Talion mirror match. Max is pretty on E as far as interaction goes. If you have anything, it's going to work. But it is on you to have something, and you don't have a lot of time to find it.
Yeah, a little bit of just the 60 card fundamentals kind of coming into play here. Max ahead on land, which is likely going to be huge, provided there's a little bit of something else. Just probably needs a little bit more to cross the finish line, but super far ahead here.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're a Max, are you using this Wish Claw yet or no? Still off it, huh?
It's interesting. There's still like some win cons left in the deck. I don't think I saw Hullbreaker Horror go away. That's something that can eventually kind of just really make some hay.
No Wish Claw Talisman, no Opposition Agent to shut off your own Wish Claw that you pass. Fetch land for Marsh Flats. Use Marsh Flats for Jeffrey. Gonna add another mana to the equation. If our turn is just cast Talion, that does not feel strong enough to me. Put shields down, too. I mean, if you have any interaction, you are the most patient person I've ever seen.
Yeah, no. I mean, we've seen a lot of very talented players on stream so far, just 2 rounds in, just looking at exactly how do people constantly win with the deck when you only have a 25% win rate, just blind. How do you turn that into a winning record? Like, that patience is huge in Talion, knowing how all the decks interact, how they all kind of operate fundamentally.
Well, getting a cut from the Rogside player, able to provide some assistance.
Some outside assistance.
I mean, both players are hanging around.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe
I'll cut the deck.
playing
Why
for a
not?
draw, Where's that 50% to win, 50% to draw statistic coming in?
If it is a draw, though, I would assume they just all draw and no one has actually won a double Talion pod, because this one just seemed like it was so likely if it does go to that. That would be crazy.
The fastest it could possibly be. And no play from Jeffrey. I just can't. The game's got to be slipping at this point. When you're at 8, facing down an opposing Talion that's attacking, there's Hullbreaker Horror.
I see Hullbreaker, yeah.
You called that one out as being potentially problematic. Down to 5. Goes Jeffrey. Max deploys Clearwater Pathway. We're just fanning out the Rogside deck. Fanning it out. There it is. A whole deck.
I did see a cool foil Daze while Rogsai was laying it out.
A lot of foils. The deck looks mostly foil. I think we're
That's
showing off here a little bit.
It's an expensive foil Final Fortune.
It is. They're very expensive. Was a prize payout for a recent tournament, I believe.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. Yeah, they're like $1,000 or something. It's crazy. Approaching ridiculous. Power 9 prices.
Yeah, exactly. You normally see Power is like prize for it.
That used to be the thing, and now it's like, 2 Final Fortunes for a Mox.
Yeah.
Like, do you make that trade? I don't know.
It depends on who you are, I guess.
Yeah.
What you value.
Crazy on paper.
We're fanning through what's left to tutor for, I presume, here is Max. Looking through the Exile Zone and the Graveyard. A lot of the deck has been gone through. Maybe diminishes the value of this Wishclaw Talisman having so many cards gone.
Yeah, it is worse at that. Yeah, that's a good point, and it's kind of like almost like a sealed deck heads up at this point. Find out like how
Oh,
many threats do you
is
have
that
left.
copy artifact on Mana Vault?
That would make sense. This is a hull breaker if it is.
Yeah,
It
I think
hasn't
that's
been
exactly
used
what's
yet,
about
so
to
it's got
happen.
to be that. Yeah. Oh
It's Hull
wow.
Breaker
Okay.
Horror. Okay. Well, that changes things quite a bit.
Yeah. I saw Deadly Rollick get exiled to the Tainted Packs. One of the few ways to deal with that. Can Max deal with this?
I don't know. I mean, we've been through all the. I mean, countermeasure doesn't even work. Been through rapid
Yeah.
hybridization.
Yeah.
What instant speed removal spells does Max even have to work with?
Drown in the Lock is gone, but also
One.
not on either.
Yeah, that's a lot of cards in the graveyard we need. I don't have that.
Psych Rift
I think is gone.
exiled.
That was pitched.
Yep, was pitched to Force.
Toxic Deluge works,
Re
but not right now.
There's
Dress down can
Resculpt.
be for a
Dress down
turn.
exiled.
Winds of Rebuke doesn't do a lot. Shieldred's Edict.
Subtle.
There we go. Got a Shieldred's Edict clinging around somewhere.
Oh man.
Subtlety's been exiled by what's it called? And we
Did they just go for a draw?
did he flash some mana? Did he just win? No, there's no way, right?
I don't.
Are we dead to Talion? I don't understand. Uh-oh. Maybe we can get some confirmation from the back tables what exactly just happened. It's Yawgmoth's. Yeah, let's get some confirmation here from what happened. It's Yawgmoth's will and something else. The players choosing to shake hands. Not clear what happened.
The Mana Vault damages 1.
That's 3.
Yeah.
Then a draw. Why did we draw?
Wow.
Yeah, we're drawing, huh? I don't really know what to say about that. Why did we?
Very interesting decision.
This does not feel like it's good for anybody in the tournament. Taking early draws historically not advisable. How Max agreed to draw? Maybe we'll hear from him shortly. I mean, I'd like to hear from at least Max. Maybe we'll get a quick interview with Max and we'll learn more. But I am being told that this has resulted in a draw, and these players have drawn.
Your story.